Hello, everybody. This is the Premier Baseball Association, and this is another of our tutorials on how OOTP can best work with what you have. Now, today's installment is going to be working with the draft and the draft pool and trying to make things a whole lot more manageable using your customizable filters. So, this here is our home screen, and we'll get right underway, and we'll try and keep this short for those of you who know what I end up doing. This right here is our home screen, and the first thing we do is we're going to go to League Transactions, Draft Pool, and you got your three tabs over here. Your Draft Pool, your Draft List, your Draft Order. Pretty much all self-explanatory. Coming through here, before we go anywhere, let me clear off this filter. What we have here is 3,477 players in the draft pool of varying potential. What you're looking at here, green is already in my draft list, and I'll show that to you in a bit. And I'm not giving away any trade secrets. Our draft list right now, what we have, I just put every player drafted, I added them to the draft list. It just makes it easier for me to see. And looking at some of these guys, red is obviously injured. So here's a draft list. And the first player taken was Bill Ryan. Let's see, Jimmy Coker, he was taken 11th. Okay. But we're still looking at 3,400 players. This is obscene. You can't do anything in this kind of environment. So what I end up doing is going to filter and customize. And the first thing we do is this one down here. And if you haven't played with filters, this is some good stuff in here. I go to potential rating. And you can do a couple different things. You can do at least, which is a minimum, or a maximum, in between, which is the one I usually go to. One of the tricks or defaults with this, it doesn't matter whether you go high and low or low and high over here. So I could go 170 or 70, 100. It gives me the same results. And just prove that I'm not lying, we got 11 players. Customize this filter, 170, and before I hit OK, this number right over here should not change. In 3, 2, 1. Look, same thing. What this allows you to do, it's nothing really special, it just allows you to end up working in much, much smaller batches. It's easier to look at 11 players, and it's probably even easier when you want to look at, let's say, 3 players. You look at 3 players, and when you look at 3 players, it's easy to know that these are the 3 best players in this draft at this particular moment. And that's not to get lost here at this point. When you're looking at the potential, some will call it true potential. Some will call it what their ceiling is. None of that is true. This is just where they are right now, today, and being projected. It doesn't mean that Torres is going to be better than Coker or better than Lindstone. It's just a way to look at them right now. And you take a look, these are the 3. Pick an order you want them in. Now, one of the things here, I'm just going to go to my 12th round, which I just basically copy over. I'm going to clear this list. Okay, so the 12th round is open. The first round is still there. And let's go back to that 12th round. And whatever order you put these guys in, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go Lindstone, Torres, and Coker. Transaction, I'm not going to add them to all draft lists because it'll screw up my thing. But if you do this here, it'll bring them over. So let me drag all 3 of these, and they should go Lindstrom, Torres, Coker in 1, 2, 3. It does not, so that doesn't work. Disregard all of that. It used to work. That really used to work. Let's see. I think you would have to do it one at a time. I'm not adding them to all my draft lists because it'll screw that up because we're in the middle of our draft. But when you right click on these guys on their selector button and send it over, it works. Trust me, I've been doing that all along. So with the customized filter, so right now we are customized 70 to 100, 75 to 100. So now let's get the next batch. I could do here, let's say 70, let's do 70. I have no idea what it's going to bring. The problem with the 75 is if any of these guys are rated at 75 right now, they're going to show up again, and we just looked at them. There was no reason to look at them. And let's see, there's Lindstrom. Torres is not there, neither is Coker. So what we do here, customize again, just drop this to 74. And now we're looking at 8 players. Again, 8 players is a whole lot easier to look at. If we still want to narrow this down, let's just go by the 2 batters that are here. All right. You know, if I'm looking at these guys, and this is contact, gap, power, eye, and strikeout, which is these numbers right here. I think it's a coin flip, except this guy walks just a little bit more, even though he strikes out less and has a little better contact. I'd probably go Grayson over Emerson, but to me it's a coin flip. And I guess based on their demand, 4.4 to 750, yeah, Grayson's the better pick. And then we can go to pitchers. The whole point of this is to narrow this down, so when you're setting up a draft list here, it makes it very easy than looking and seeing nothing. Now, our draft is 12 rounds, and we have 24 teams. My target number of draftable players is 288. And typically, if I divide that by 2, I'll have 144 names on my list. That is typically enough for me to draft with. Not only is that enough to draft with, that is enough to go then after the draft and look for the remainder of these guys on my draft list that were not signed or drafted, that I can go out now and sign after the draft. That's my target number. So when I look at all position players and I customize this number, I want to find the bottom number. So let's come back up to 100 for one of these, and let's see what 50 brings us. And we're looking at this number right here, 138. This is close. Now, the only thing that this is not going to do, it's not going to break down your hitters and your pitchers evenly. Out of 138, we got 49 pitchers, 49 hitters and 95 pitchers. Kind of disproportionate. So let's come back to the customize, and let's drop this down to 45. And we're just looking for a target number, and magically this one becomes 288, which is the exact number of players. Anybody with a potential of less than 45 right now, I don't really want to consider. There's 288 players that are better. And out of the hitters, there's 120 now and 181 pitchers. This is, and I'm guessing based on that number that there's probably about 22 way players in there. 300, 288, maybe 12, something like that, ballpark. So now, let's go back to round 1. All of these players were drafted in the so far, and I think we're up to pick 68. So anybody green has already been selected. These are some of the guys that are in there. 288 is still way too many, but I know right now that 45 is my bottom number. So let's do, 50 to 48, and let's see what it brings us. 68 players. That's a whole lot. We're going to have to narrow that down some more, customize, and the only other way to do that, 49 to 48. And we're looking at 55. Here's another thing, OSA. When I look at my scout, I have 32. OSA, 55. Now, I always seem to want to check what OSA has. OSA is a lot more generous with their scouting than my scout is, for whatever reason. So what I look to do here is, and I often make this mistake, I'll go to my scout, because that's what it's set up as. I go to OSA, look at theirs, and then right-click, go back, and all of a sudden I'm looking at so many more players. Two ways to fix this. One, scouting. Go back to my scout, and I go back to the 32. Or, I'm just resetting it. I'm on OSA Scout right now. I can pick any of these players, it doesn't matter. And then click on Head Scout, go back, and then I get my 32 players again. So, out of this, 21 batters, 13 pitchers. This is pretty much how you can do it. Now, what I will tell you is, let's say you're in this draft. Let's see, I think we're in the third round. I'm just going to go off screen here a little bit. Yeah, we're in the middle of the third round in our current draft. Let's say I wanted a player that is right now basically PBA ready. So what I'm going to do here is, this is a player filter. This is the numbers we were at. And I want to say this too. Filter after you customize it, save it. This way you don't have to redo it. And this one here is tutorial potential. That's what I'm naming it. You can name it whatever you want, obviously. That's what the best part of this game is. But let's say I wanted to see who the best overall player was right now out of the gate that is ready to go. And so I can sort on overall potential. Tom Rainer is the first one. And his numbers look really good potential-wise. His overall 2.5 to 3.5 as per my scout. OSA has him 2.5, 4. Okay, what does that really mean? He's, to me, borderline ready right now for the PBA, for our league. You look at ratings relative to the particular league. If he is ready now, or borderline ready, he should be borderline ready at AAA right now to go into right out of the draft. For AA, he should be fully maxed out, and he shouldn't even be considered for A ball with a 2.5, 4. So at A ball, he's 5 out of 5 stars, which means he can't get any better at A ball. At AA, 5 out of 5. So he's not going to get anything other than padding stats in AA. AAA, 4 out of 5. He's going to dominate in AAA. He's one of the best players. But in the PBA, 2.5, 4. You may want to drop him into AAA, let him get his feet wet in professional baseball, and then bring him in. Or if you got a set of cojones, bring him right into the PBA. That's what I would do with him. He was drafted, I believe, and if not, I'm going to. Oh, look, I did it again. Draft view. Go to my scout, 176. And let's see, where did Tom Rainer go? Just for kicks and giggles. Tom Rainer. Rainer. You'd figure I would have done this, but this is... He's a second-round player, it looks like. Yes, he is. He went to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Bug Spalding. He went 41st overall as a reliever. So let's go to the tutorial for potential. We're going to customize this filter. Let's see who else is lurking. Let's change potential rating to overall rating. And what overall rating is is where we are right now today. And younger players are supposed to get better. Aging players are supposed to decline. So this is a snapshot as of April 25th, 2022 in our league. So let's see who is between 100, and there's not going to be anybody because 2.5 is about, out of 5 stars, 50. So let's just say 49. See how many we get. Ooh. Let's go to OSA. What do they say? Ooh, nobody. Nobody. Let's go 45. Survey says Tom Rayner. We already figured that one out. That was a tough one. Customize. Let's go 45. And this is another trick. I don't have to keep... I can alternate numbers here. Let's go 40. Oh, we got a couple. All right, they're all pitchers. Out of them, Calvin Moraine. This guy, right now, he's 2 stars if going to the PBA. If we drop him in AAA, he's 3 out of 5. And AA, he's already maxed out. 4.5 out of 5. I mean, he's not going to, you don't need to max that out. This guy would probably start AAA with a late season call-up. He's 20 years old. Doesn't really walk anybody. Homers are okay, and his strikeouts are off the charts. Again, my scout has him a little weaker than OSA scout. 20 years old, right-handed, and I believe that this guy went, let's see, where did he go? 31st overall to the Durham Minotaurs. And that was the 4th pick in the 2nd round. So that's where we are. That's what we got out of this. Again, I'd like to thank you for watching. This is Gary Altman with the commissioner of the PBA, the Premier Baseball Association League. Feel free to check us out at stats.net/PBAL. And you can check out our teams. There's under Stats Plus, there's a link for the Constitution. Read it, see if you'd like to join us. Drop me an email and get on our list for new ownership. The absolute last part is we sim 5 days a week, 7 days at a clip. We will go through a complete season in just under 10 weeks of real time. So we fly about. So even if you end up with a team that's not as good as what you would like or in some kind of problem, there is a way out, and the PBAL kind of deals with that. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time, this is the Commissioner, Gary Altman, signing off. Thank you very much.